What's up, everybody? Welcome back to rePORTER Show. As always, I got my co-host with me. I got Dan on my left. I got Tuck on my right. Last week was very short in terms of how many sports we got to cover, so I'm happy about that. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm tired of doing 7, 8, 10 games a week. That's annoying. It don't let me talk about the games like I want to. But this week, we're going to be able to break some things down for real. We only had 3 sporting events, and we added wrestling from the previous week because we found their individual statistics. So, of course, you know, the information that I find, I want to be able to share it with everybody else so we can highlight some of the guys that did well in their last showing. But I want to talk about men's soccer. Men's soccer is at the NCCAA national tournament, and they're going to be facing off against the 3rd seed Judson. We got the 7th seed. Now, as you guys know, the regional championship was against Southwestern Christian, which we won. Now, Southwestern Christian got an at-large bid into this national tournament, and they were placed at the 6th seed, and we're the 7th seed.
And we beat them.
And we beat them to get into the tournament. I don't understand that.
That doesn't make sense to me at all.
Yeah, I don't know if they have either a way better record than us, or maybe some politics involvement. I don't know.
My thing is, even with them having a better record, there's no way that they should be at a higher seed than us.
Coming off a loss from us.
Yeah, coming off. That don't make no sense. But anywho, we got 3rd seed Judson, and hopefully we handle business, and we can talk about that. I thought we were going to be able to talk about it today, but the game has not happened yet at the time of this recording. But we will talk about it, of course, next show. But let's go ahead and start this one off with men's wrestling. Men's wrestling did not have a matchup this past week, but they had that matchup as we talked about, the duels, the Spire duels, and I wanted to come back to it because I was able to find some individual statistics and break down some of the scoring from some of these matchups because it was very interesting to see. Like I said, we did end up upsetting the 10th ranked team in the nation, St. Mary, 24-23. And what's crazy about this is when they do head-to-heads, it's 10 matchups. And we ended up losing the head-to-head 4-6. But we still won the team as a whole 24-23 because the matchups that we did win, they were all pins. And pins get you the most points. Pins get you 6 points every single time you pin somebody. And we had 3 pins. And then we also had 1 forfeit, which is an automatic 6 points. At 149, 9th ranked Alex, he won by pin. At 165, June, he won by pin. And at 197, 23rd ranked John won by pin as well. At 285, like I said, 23rd ranked as well. Emmett, he won by injury default. The guy didn't compete at all, so I'm assuming he got injured before the match. So once the match came, it was just an automatic injury default. And so we ended up getting those 6 points, and that was our 24 that helped us win 24-23, even though we did not win the head-to-head. So I think we only lost 1 match by pin. So even though they beat us in more matches, we racked up some pretty big wins, and that's what was the end of that. So we went on to face Friends next, and that was a very completely different story. We manhandled them. Head-to-head was much different. We won 7, they won 3. And with 3 of those wins on our behalf being by pin and 1 by major decision. Some highlights from this one was at 149, of course, 9th ranked Alex won by pin over the 16th ranked wrestler in the nation. But that's expected when you're 9th ranked in the nation. You better be handling those up underneath you. At 165, exactly. At 165, June won by major decision, 14-3. At 197, 23rd ranked John won by pin. And at 285, another 23rd ranked in the nation, Emmett won by pin as well. Next matchup was basically the same exact thing. We won 7 matchups, only lost 3. 3 of those that we won were by pin, and 2 were by major decision. There was an upset, though, at 149, 9th ranked Alex lost by pin to an unranked opponent. So that's a tough loss to have. That's probably going to dictate some things when those next rankings come out. Hopefully he does enough before that could happen so it doesn't affect him that much. At 133, Gabe won by major decision, 13-5. At 141, Nathaniel won by pin. At 174, Ethan won by pin. At 184, Malachi won by major decision, 15-4. And at 285, 23rd ranked Emmett won by pin as well. Now, let's get on to women's basketball. Women's basketball matchup against OPSU. I already knew what this was going to be. Yeah, basically because we were able, if you were here earlier in the season, you were able to watch them in the Queen's Classic. Now, you know that you can't play conference opponents in tournaments. So they were here, but we didn't play them.
Yeah.
So we were able to watch them play, and I knew that this was not going to be a good game. Now, for them, yeah. This was not going to be a good game for them. And so what I was hoping for was, as you all have known, in recent games, when we play teams that are clearly beneath our caliber, we tend to play down to their level. In that first half, even though we were up pretty big, we still scored way less than what we normally do in a half. And it's like, okay, when are we going to get to a point where we can play a team, and no matter how bad they are, we can play as good as we can play?
True.
And in that second half, we finally answered some things. Let's go ahead and check out some of these highlights, man. They were moving the ball very efficiently, getting an open shot there to Bobby. Then, of course, on transition, we were getting out quick. Another one, Linda racked up 7 assists. I think she almost had a triple-double. We'll get into those stats later on. Once again, Linda on transition, finding an open man, get it to Emily. You know she's going to pull it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, every time. And then, of course, like I said, we were just moving the ball, getting down to that. We got down to that block over and over and over again. It was just like, get there and make a play happen. Emily with a nice up and under over there. Same situation here. Got to the block, give it to her, find a man inside. Easy bucket. Yeah, easy bucket. Same situation here. But actually finding Emily back up top, she gonna pull the three. They leaving her open, so she might as well pull it. Finding the block, same situation. Same situation. Every single time we got down to that right block, got it down to the paint, get it to the big, automatic score, moving on transition, getting steals, making things happen. And of course, Emily, just another steal. At this point, the game is basically over, but you got to keep scoring. Game ain't over with until that clock hits 0. We had a very different second half as a team, shooting 64% from the field, 27 for 42, shooting 36% from the three, only put up 4 threes. Only made 4 threes out of 11, but still a better production than we had in that first half. And then, of course, free throw percentage. We didn't shoot a lot of free throws because they weren't really fouling. They weren't really putting any pressure. Yeah, they weren't a physical team at all.
They weren't even trying to compete. They were just trying to get the game over with.
Yeah, basically.
And go back home.
Basically, stat-wise, we had 3 girls in double-doubles. As I mentioned, Linda almost had a triple-double. She had 16 and 10 with 7 assists. Megan had 17 and 10. Caitlin had 12 and 10. And then we had 3 other girls in double digits. Bobby had 14. Emily had 13. She was 3 for 7 from the three-point line, and Brooklyn had 14. And a big thing that I noticed in this game, the lowest amount of turnovers we've ever had, 6 turnovers in this game.
Oh, man.
Winning this one 102-37.
I mean, that's honestly, in my opinion, obviously it was against a team who not very good, hasn't been very good in the past. But I still think that's our best offensive showcase we've had all season. I mean, what is it, 6 people in double figures? I mean, everybody, we played our whole bench, I'm sure. Everybody pretty much scored. Our shooting percentages were good. But, yeah, like you said, I think the biggest thing to take away from this is only 6 turnovers, because even against a bad team, it's really easy to play sloppy against a bad team.
And relax.
Yeah, we've done it before.
Yeah, we've done it plenty of times. And you relax, and you start to just make careless plays. But I think credit to Coach Cooper, he kept them engaged. And even though they were up 50, I mean, how do you play hard when you're up 50 points, man?
Yeah.
But they still executed whatever they wanted to execute. So, I mean, I'm not shocked at the victory by any means. Of course, they were going to win this one by however many they won it by, but I do give them credit for staying disciplined and keeping the game clean on their part.
Yeah. You know, I'm glad you said that. When you're up by that much, it's hard for you to continue to play with that type of play style. In recent games, from the games that we've watched, when they play these teams where you honestly would expect them to just thrash them, and it ends up being a little bit tighter than you would expect, what do you think are some of the things that lead to that?
That lead to, I'm sorry.
So, like, when they're playing these teams that are beneath them, I mean, you know, there's plenty of teams that we played this year that they're not us.
Yeah, they're not.
Let's just be real. But we found ourselves in closer games than expected. My question is, what are some of the things that you think leads to that? Because it's not like, okay, we're up big, we can ease up. It's more of like, okay, we know we're going to win, let's just go out and play
think
basketball.
It's kind of the, not necessarily mindset, but it just kind of happens. Like, you're able to easily whoop this team. And so it's like, we don't have to try till we need to, essentially, but it's a bad mindset. It's a bad mindset and a bad, I guess, habit to have, because when you do need to lock in, when you do need that, you have to be able to just
turn it on.
Turn on the switch.
And the thing about it is, I wouldn't say the girls have that mentality. I just think the girls are human, man. Everybody has it. It's so easy. You see a team like OPSU for the women, or a lot of teams they probably should have beat by 30 plus, and ended up winning by 15, 20, which is still plenty enough. But they see teams on their schedule, and they know for 100% fact there's pretty much nothing they can do to lose a game. I mean, basketball, anybody can win at some given times, but
you to lose that game, I feel like you have to genuinely try to lose that game. So that's their mindset.
Yeah, but it's just like, I think our girls, which it was good to see them do it to OPSU, but in games previous to that, it's like they just couldn't quite just demoralize teams. Like, they're putting them out of their misery, but they're not just demoralizing them.
Sometimes I get it, your shot don't fall, but it's also the whole play style. It's the whole energy of the game. Like, even there's times in the stands where we're just like, what y'all doing? We should be up 50. We should have our free McDonald's. Exactly. You feel me? We should have our free McDonald's fries. That's what I be waiting for.
And to me, that's just a testament to how talented and how well coached the Flying Queens are, because they're undefeated. I don't know if they're 9-0 or 10-0, 8-0, and we're over here talking about, they should be winning by more. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a testament to A, how good of a team they are, and B, how high our expectations for them are. Because they're flawless to this point in the season. They haven't lost. I think they're the best team in the conference, and it would not shock me if they finish the regular season undefeated, but that's the goal, of course.
The new rankings came out, and they're 10th ranked in the nation now, top 10. So that's probably the highest we've been ranked in the past couple of years, from my belief. I could be mistaken on that, so sorry if I am. But 10th ranked in the nation now. Offensively, of course, I think we're still top 5 in the nation for most points per game. And like you said, for us to be talking about, hey, we should win by more, not in this instance, because this is exactly what I've been looking for. But in previous games, but that's, like you said, that's a good thing to be talking about. So when y'all hear me say, hey, we should be winning by more, don't think I'm picking at y'all. Just know that I have high expectations for y'all, and I know
we see the capability. I mean, bro, we had 6 girls in double digits. 3 was double-doubles. Come on. It's weapons across the board. It is. And, I want to give, like Tuck said, a shout-out to Coach Cooper and the coaching staff for, they're ranked 10th in the nation. You said probably one of the highest we've been in a while. It's very easy to let it get to your head. And so going forward, our mindset against teams like this is probably going to be a little bit more lax. But, big props to the coaching staff for keeping them locked in, and as we expect them to stay locked in throughout the rest of the season.
And I guess the last thing I'm going to say, give more credit to them, is, basketball, football is one of those sports there's not as many upsets. But basketball is one of those sports where anybody can win on any night, especially in the conference that we're in. So for them to stay locked in and still win these games by 10 plus, you obviously have to give them credit.
Yeah, you do. And we'll talk about their road trip that they have coming up, because, all of December we have no home games here. So they're on the road a lot, both men's and women's, and there's going to be some tough competition. So I'm looking forward to this road trip, man. I hope that they continue their dominance. Let's take this one on to men's basketball. Men's basketball had a matchup against OPSU, and in the rankings, they look like complete opposites, because we are in the top quadrant of the conference for conference standings, and they were at the very bottom. But overall record-wise, we were basically the same. 2 teams that have some talent. I believe, of course, that we have more talent than them, but 2 teams that have some talent that haven't exactly performed to their expectations. So this was one of those games where you want to prove yourself that, okay, we're not like y'all. We're finna show you that we're actually better than what our record shows. We came into this game, and what I noticed offensively is we had a big return from Brett Leach. I know that Tuck talked about Brett being injured in the past couple of games, and it's been hard for him to get into the rhythm of things. But Brett came out in this game and put up 11 points in that first half, getting off immediately. Yeah, he came out hot, pulling the 3 there immediately. Then, of course, once you shoot the 3, they're going to try to close out on you very hard, able to get an and 1 here. And, of course, he finished that. Another one, closing out hard, getting to the paint, tough bucket, tough finish. And then, of course, in transition, they left him open. Of course, he's going to pull it. So he ended up having 11 points in that first half.
Short amount of time, too.
Exactly, in a very short amount of time. As a team, we had some very active hands. We had 9 steals, 16 points off turnovers. We had an 11-point lead at one point, but, of course, we gave it up. Went into the second half, only up 3. We came out slow. We let them go on an 8-1 run. Of course, Q answered back, scoring 8 straight. So, of course, from that point on, it was a tight game. It was neck and neck. Now, down the stretch, what I will say is this was a game that we should have taken control of, but we did not take control of. We kept missing free throws, clutch free throws at that. Free throws that probably would have put us ahead, probably would have put us in a comfortable lead. A very comfortable lead. And then they would come down and score. So now it's a tight ball game again. Now we're chasing. And what happens is we get down to the clutch, and we have to resort to that one-man ball, that hero ball. We got to go to Q. Q, you got to win the game for us. Q, you got to take this shot. Q, you got to do this. And it's like at this point, we have got to get to a point where we can take a controlling lead and hold on to it. Q scored 17 of our last 18 points and ended up getting the winning bucket to go up 72-71 to win it. And listen, I get it. I mean, when you got a playmaker like that, you can get away with some games like this, but this isn't some games at this point. Yeah, this is all of the games at this point. Every single game, we get to a point where we control the first half. Then we get down to the end of the first half. We lose a little bit of that momentum. Then we come out in the second half, and then it's neck and neck all the way to the end. And my question is, I'm going to ask you first because I know you're out there on the court. What do you think are some of the things that leads to us not being able to hold on to a controlling lead? Not saying that I'm expecting us to be up 10, 15 every game, but there's plenty of times where we get to a point in the game where we're up 5, we're up 7, we're up even more than that, and then we get down to that second half, and it's neck and neck down to the last second.
Yeah, man, obviously we don't like those close guys. It's not like we love just having Q bail us out, but thank God for him that he has been bailing us out. But, yeah, like the talk in the locker room after those type of games has been like, man, what a game. Glad we won, obviously, but we know that it can't come down to that. That's not going to win you big games. I mean, Q's as clutch as a player as there is in the country, but that play style is not going to win us games. And so we know that we start to get up ahead like 9 or 10 points, and then we just start relaxing a little defensively and maybe not crashing the boards as hard as we should, and just little things like that add up and give a team confidence. And then next thing you know, we look up and they're right back in the ball game. But I will give OPSU credit. They're one of those teams. Their record in conference, I think, was 1-3 before us, and all of their 3 losses were within
really close.
Yeah, they were all close.
That's what I said. They're better than
what
they
very
show.
Easily could have been 4-0 or 3-1 or anything in between. So, and this is the best OPSU team I will say I've seen since I've been here at Wayland. They're not some scrubs by any means. So it's not one of those games where we were expecting to win by 40. But it's a game that we thought once we got ahead, we thought we should handle them, and we got ahead by 10. And I think it would have taken just a couple more buckets and a couple more stops, and I think we could have put them away, and we just didn't and let them hang in the game. And then now it's going to take some late game fouls and heroics for us to win, and we did. But we know it's not what's going to win us big time games.
Yeah, as a spectator at a game, I know from my standpoint, I might not see all of the things that basketball players would know. So I'm going to ask you, as you watch this game, knowing the game of basketball, knowing what works, what doesn't work, knowing the play styles, talk to me about what you're seeing, look on the outside looking in, that's causing us to sort of have these short fallings.
Yeah, I mean, as a regular spectator, I mean, you're going to get hyped up when Q's scoring the last 17. You're like, oh my gosh, he's on fire, he's on fire. Like, of course, as a regular fan, you love that.
Yeah.
But realistically, looking at the team that we have, especially compared to the past, this is a much more, I feel like, team. Like, our play style is a lot more team-oriented. Like, this team is very well-rounded, plays very well off of each other, and I feel like we're not capitalizing off the opportunities that we get ourselves in those moments to finish games. I mean, obviously, other teams are going to see the scouting report and see that Q is doing his thing. And luckily, he's good enough to, regardless of what you throw at him, he's still gonna get his buckets. Like, I mean, the guy's a walking bucket for crying out loud. But I mean, like, I agree. We can't rely on that going forward against better teams. Yeah. It's not going to cut it.
Well, the thing is, like I said earlier in the season, we found ourselves 4-4. When we could very well be 6-2, we could very well be, and it's because of the way that we let games go. Because every game that we've lost, we've had control of. True. I think there's only one game where we got down big and we were the ones having to fight back, and that was the first time we played Kansas Wesleyan, right? Or was it Bethel? It was Bethel. Okay, so it was Bethel. But anywho, Q finished up this game with 32, and like I said, like you said, not being able to. Use your team as you should. Brett finished with 11. He started with 11 in the first half. Yeah. We didn't go back. I mean, I'm not going to say we didn't go back to him. But as a team, the scoring did not look the same as it did in the first half.
I'm going to just put it this way. We're not playing as a team a complete 40 minutes.
No.
Yeah. We probably playing a good 32, 34, 35, 36. But it's not the complete 40 minutes, which we need to be a championship contending team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that's the biggest thing is, like you said, and just like you said, it's the fact that we can win these games, but to win the games that we need to win, we have to play better, complete games as a team.
For sure.
And that will show in this matchup that we had against Kansas Wesleyan. They had a matchup this past Saturday. As you all know, in the first matchup that we had, it was not our best showing. We ended up losing that one. I'm not going to go over the score and all that extra stuff. In the first half of this one, it was honestly pretty evenly played from both sides of the court. First half, especially stat-wise, if you look at the stats, it's pretty even all the way through. We had some very efficient shooting, 50% from the field, 50% from the three, 7 for 8 from the free throw line. So I won't say we weren't playing our game. We were definitely playing our game. But watching it, it felt like we were missing a lot of open shots. But overall, like I said, it was a decent half, and we were only down 43-40 at the end of the first. We came out in the second half, and it came down to a very familiar story at the end. And it was left up to Q. You're going to have to make a shot to win this game. Basically, that's what happened at the end of this game. But what I will say, what led up to that point was we had a chance to take the lead plenty of times. We would turn the ball over. I think we had 3 turnovers in the last 5 minutes of this game. What would you consider clutch time in basketball?
Oh, yeah, probably last 5 minutes.
Last 5 minutes, right? Okay, so we had
Especially if it's a neck and neck game.
Yeah. So we had 3 turnovers in the clutch. I'll say that. Then we had a chance to take the lead or tie it with open look. We brick it. We miss it. Now that's the nature of basketball. You know, you're not gonna make every shot that's open. That just happens sometimes. But it really hurts when it's in the clutch like that.
Wide open.
Wide open.
Like this is a shot
that you make it practice every day.
I'm shooting in the gym by myself with nobody around, and I'm going 15 for 20, 17 for 20. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
So it hurts to miss when it matters.
It definitely does, and that's exactly what happened. We were missing when it mattered. And then, of course, we had second chance opportunities, getting rebounds, going back up, missing it. And so this was another close game that I believe that we could have gained control if we took the right steps in terms of taking care of the ball, in terms of hitting those shots that we need, and then in terms of making the most of our second chance opportunities. Nico ended up with 17 and 9, 3 for 3 from the three-point line, so a really good game from him. Adiola had 13. He was perfect again from the field, 4 for 4. Q had 13. So somewhat of a quiet game, but still a good game from Q. But as a team, Tuck, you got to talk to me, man. Once again, coming down to the clutch, not taking control.
Yeah, I mean, even after we won SAGU and after we won against OPSU, the talk in the film room the next day was like, man, we're glad we're winning, obviously. You can't be mad after a win, but we got to realize how to learn from our wins. Because a lot of teams, like, it takes them losing a heartbreak to learn. And that's been our problem. Like, we win and we still didn't clean things up. But I think just as a whole, that game just really was pretty uncharacteristic of us. We hadn't been turning the ball over at that rate to this point in the season. We didn't rebound as well as we should have. We shot free throws better than what we have. But and just defensively, I mean, after the first half, we thought we played our worst half of the season defensively. We're still down by 3 points. So definitely a game we thought we definitely should have won and should have taken control of. But, man, those little things like rebounding and turning the ball over, things that we usually are better at than what we are, we just, for whatever reason, laid an egg in that aspect of the game. And I think it also helps when we're used to playing these close games and winning, but, like, man, we have to learn that we shouldn't be in these close games, and the basketball will humble you, and that's what happened. We got humbled. So credit to them. They're a good team, but I definitely think we could have came out on top on this one.
Were you able to watch that game?
I wasn't.
I got you. I watched it on the Huddle Cam, and I was able to see some of those things unfold, and it honestly was it was very frustrating to me to watch at the end of that game, man, because I was watching it and I was thinking to myself, man, these boys could easily win this game, and then we come down and do something, turn the ball over, miss a shot. But let's just go over the games that we've had this year. First game of the season, we lost 80-82. We went to the Kansas Wesleyan Classic. Those were probably two of our worst performances that we've had this season. Then we come to Langston, we win, big upset. Then we come to Central Christian not very next day, but that weekend, lose by 1 possession. Come to UNT, handled them. Come to Nelson, win by 1 possession. OPSU, win by 1 possession. Kansas Wesleyan, lose by 1 possession. So we have all of these close games, and all that it is coming down to is, are you doing the little things right to make sure that you get the big wins? You know what I'm saying? Like you said, being able to learn from the wins is just as important from being able to learn from an upset. You know, I would rather learn from a win than being upset.
Yeah, it is a lot more fun to learn from a win.
But you gotta learn from the win. You can't take the win.
You can't take the win and be happy with it, basically. And it sucks to say that, but at this point in the season,
with wins like this, when you know they should be by at least
5 or 6.
Yeah, I can say 6, 7 points, something like that. Not every game should have come down to the wire.
No.
Like, I mean, we look at Q's game winner against I don't know if it was OPSU or SAGU, but he did a reverse lay between 3 people.
Yeah, that was tough.
Like, I mean, by all means, you're going to sit there as a fan and think, wow,
that's crazy.
This dude is like that. Like,
yeah,
that
bro.
is crazy. But how often do you want to rely on a play like that to be made to win you a game?
You don't want to. Exactly. I sit there and I watch all of these games with my wife, and she a basketball head, y'all know. So she watch these games and she be talking to me like, why are they doing X, Y, Z? And I'm like, baby, I don't know. You know, I don't know what to tell you, because I'm wondering the same thing. Because as a fan, yes, it's exciting to see that, but also it's just like, what y'all doing? Yeah. Like, can we pull this out and win the game comfortably? We're 4-5 overall in the season, but we're 4-1 in conference. So even though it hasn't been a season that we've wanted so far, we're still in great shape.
We are.
We're still in great shape. And to be able to say that,
with bad, not necessarily bad play, but not to our standards.
Yeah. How many games on our schedule? There's really not even one, but maybe, Kansas Wesleyan at Kansas Wesleyan. That's gonna be a hard one to win. You obviously think you can win it, but it's not. That's like, I'm not gonna say it's an excuse loss, but you know what I'm saying. You lose it and you're not just shocked that you lost. Yeah. But every other game on our schedule, it's like, man, that could have easily went our way. Yeah. So we're in a position. I'm gonna choose to be optimistic, because I mean, a lot of teams wish they were 4-1 in conference right now. So of course I'm optimistic. We have 4 games left before the break, so we'd love to take care of business these next 4 games. But just the losses we do have, it's like, man, nobody really just whooped us. It's like we could have won. Exactly.
Honestly, I mean, like, going into these, like you said, these next 4 games, obviously you want to sweep. It's a couple big road trips. You want to sweep, but the amount of focus that has to be put into this has to be the best it has been all year. Yeah. Like I said, we haven't put together a complete 40 minutes yet.
No, we haven't.
Yet. And in my opinion, if there's a time to do it, it's right now.
I think we're going to be better from it for sure.
Let's talk about it. We got the time. We'll close it out really soon. The upcoming games this weekend, basketball, both men's and women's, will be at Southwestern Christian on Thursday. And then on Saturday, basketball will be at Oklahoma City, both men's and women's. On the men's side, they're the 19th ranked team in the nation right now. So if we go on the road and win these next couple of games, it's going to be a pretty big thing for us, especially in the conference standings, because as of right now, we are tied for second, probably third, because we lost the head-to-head to Central Christian. But going on the road and sweeping the road in December would put us in a very good position. You got Oklahoma City, who is beneath us in the SAC.
Yeah.
Beneath us in the SAC, at 3-3 in the SAC, but ranked 19th in the nation because of their overall record. Then you got, who else we got on the road?
Christian.
We got Southwestern Christian, and we got Texas Wesleyan and USAO. And none of these teams, as of right now, are above us in the standings in the conference. So need to win out. Basically, that's the answer. You need to win out.
That's the goal.
Same thing for the women's side. They're undefeated, so everybody chasing them.
Yeah.
The only team I would say that's going to give them competition is MACU.
I think so too.
I think MACU is ranked. They're ranked in the top 25. I don't have time to really go into it, but they're ranked in the top 25. That's probably going to be their toughest matchup the rest of the year.
I think so too.
That's really it.
Langston there is going to be, obviously, that's a good environment. Yeah. That should be a tough one. I think they can win, of course, but unless the girls just drop the ball, I think MACU and Langston are probably going to be their best competition from this point forward.
But with that being said, got to stay locked in.
You definitely do. Because as you know, on the women's side of things, we haven't played the strong teams yet.
No.
We haven't played the strong teams yet. Haven't played USAO, they're 3-1 conference. We haven't played Tex West, they're 3-1 in conference. The Langston, we played them, they're 4-1. So the only loss coming to us. And then MACU, they're 5-1 and 9-1 overall in the season. Top 4 teams in the conference only have 1 loss on the season overall, not just conference, just overall. So top 4 teams are probably going to give us a run for our money. Texas Wesleyan looks like they're on the come up. They're 3-1 and 7-1. So on the road is going to be a challenge for men's and women's, and I really hope that they can make it happen. Now, that's all we got for y'all today, and I'm so happy about that because that feels so much better than running through 10 games. But before we let you guys go, I do have a PSA. It's my man's birthday today. You know what I'm saying? It's my man's birthday today. He turned 22, right?
Yeah, 22. Yes, sir.
Okay, 22.
Calm down.
22.
Man.
So if y'all see the man walking around, y'all be sure to tell him happy birthday. He gonna be here. He don't get no holiday break. He gonna be here. So if you see him on campus, you better tell that man happy birthday. I don't care how late it is. Let him know. We'll see y'all same time next week.